Hi, I'm Michael Hill with Canine Chronicle TV, and I'm down here in Orlando with Kent Boyles and Liz Oster, who are Kenlyn and Marquis German Shepherds. And who is this here?
This is Mimi. She's a little 5-month-old German Shepherd bitch. A combination of American and German bloodlines.
Okay.
Yeah. Mother's from Germany.
Mother's an import.
Fathers are special.
And your special is the current #1 herding dog, Tony. And you guys were also breeders of the year for the AKC last year, correct?
Yeah, last year, 2018.
Wow.
And congratulations to the winner from this year as well.
Oh, yeah.
From the herding group as well.
A herding group?
Oh, no, it was that lady with the
Bulldogs.
Yeah, the non-sporting group.
Okay, yep. I was going to say the herding group.
No, I messed up.
That's fair. And then before that, you guys won the Garden with your breeder-owner handled bitch groomer, right?
Right, 2017 she won the Westminster Kennel Club.
And then she did well here as well, right?
Yeah, that was 2015.
Okay.
She was show dog of the year that year and won the best in show here.
So you guys have basically done it all. And you both grew up in German Shepherds, right? It's kind of been a lifelong thing. How did you guys kind of get to this level? How did that progress for you guys?
Well, Liz grew up in the dogs. I started when I was in high school with dogs, and then went to work for the breeder that I purchased my first German Shepherd from. And when I realized there was actually professional handlers out there going to dog shows and whatnot, I just kind of gravitated right towards that gig.
This is a no-brainer.
Yeah, 'cause, I like to travel and run around and be with the dogs all the time. So I just kind of went right into that direction.
It was a natural progression from there.
And actually, when I was in my early 20s, I used to handle with Lizzie's older sister because her and I are the same age, and her sister did a lot of handling at the time of German Shepherds, right?
It's a small world. Liz, for you, was it always a natural thing? Did you always want to be in Shepherds, or?
Yes, yeah. My parents bred, and so we always that was what was around. And I guess in my teenage years, I tried a different breed, a Cavalier, because I thought I wanted something different, and that was a mistake. So he was very friendly, but not a German Shepherd.
Not the same.
That was it.
And you guys have also been involved with Schützen and performance and things like that too.
Well, not to a large extent, but I've always been interested in trying to learn as much about the different aspects of the breed as possible. So we did actually start a USA United Schützen Clubs of America club in our town probably a dozen years ago, and that's still a very active club. They have a lot of top competitors. This year actually there was a Doberman from that club that competed at the Schützen 3 World Championships in Hungary. They placed 6th with that dog out of our little club there in Edgerton.
In Wisconsin.
Yes, we've had a lot of regional winners and some very competitive dogs out of that club. Wow. Then we do I'm pretty good friends with the guy that heads up the Wisconsin State Patrol Canine Unit. So those dogs come to our facility and train on a fairly regular basis. So you kind of like to get together with those guys because I think it kind of rounds out your dog knowledge and stuff.
And how to get inside a dog's head and their mind.
Yeah, and it makes you realize there's a lot more to this breed than just running around at a dog show.
And I know you guys, you have these dogs that are successful at such a high level. They're handling a lot of stress, and they're still loving the show ring, and they're still performing, they're still responsive. What are some things that you do with even like a young puppy like this to teach them to enjoy their job, to enjoy the show ring, be confident, not think too much with a brain like that?
Well, I think a lot of it starts when they're real young. We try to work on building like food drive in them and build on some of the prey drive and toy drive in them. It kind of works a little different with different bloodlines as to what works the best, but when those babies first start to eat, it seems like even like when you pick up a pan of dog food and like move it around and get the whole crew to follow you, and you put it down and rub them up and take it away from them, and then walk to another part of the kennel and stick it down and rub them up. They start to really kind of focus on the person.
Have to chase it. And see you as
and then you're the leader, that's walking around with the stuff,
the good stuff.
And a lot of times, if you take and instead of feeding the puppies like regular meals, if you just like load your pockets up and take them out for a little walk one at a time and start feeding them by hand, well, pretty soon they start focusing on you, and you can build some of the focus on the person and doing what you need to do.
Right.
Kind of
learning to work for you instead of just eating their food.
Gets the gears turning in their head, Like a lot of the first thing we start to do is with them is I use that clicker a fair amount. I teach those dogs just to make eye contact. And then kind of teach them a process of learning, so that if they do something, then they get paid with the food, and kind of just teach them the fundamentals of some of that stuff early on. And
then when they hit their fear periods, you can go back to that, and then they're like, oh, I know this.
Remember this.
Okay, I'll calm down. I mean, it helps when they.
And taking them to a show like this at a young age is great for socialization. If she's been like this already, when you come, back in the year, she's like, oh,
no big deal.
And if you just teach those puppies, they're like little sponges when they're babies, So I mean, you can teach them little things, and then when you take them on the road and they start to get a little stress, you can kind of revert back to something they're familiar with. And a lot of times, if they'll eat, if they're good eaters, if you feed them, it'll take stress out of them. Then you can show them things that they're familiar with. Some of that other stuff that's kind of, putting pressure on them, kind of like a release valve for the pressure.
And then it kind of gives them a baseline for coping with stress. To set up for more stuff in the future. I love that. And this breed is one that has that temperament test in the ring. Can we talk about that for a little bit? Why that's there and how judges can do that well?
Well, it's supposed to. That's one of the hallmarks of this breed. It's supposed to be like a dog for all kinds of different jobs and stuff. So it's supposed to be able to handle a little bit of stress. It's supposed to have a lot of self-confidence, but it's not. It's a fairly aloof. It can be a pretty aloof breed as well. So I mean, if you do that temperament test, I mean, most of the time you can tell if those dogs are coming in and going around. You see the reactions of them. You bring them out on the lead and walk up and what I like to do with them is I'd walk up and, how are you doing, sir? How are you? Your dog's standing there, and then you just acknowledge the dog and go on. And you set the dog up.
You're not stopping there and staring and hesitating.
I don't think anybody likes anybody just to go and grab right onto their heads right away. I mean, it seems like it'd be a natural reaction to move around.
If someone did that to me, I would be.
Touch the hair, man.
I think one of the things that people make the mistake of, they do it a lot in this breed, and I'm sure they do it in other breeds as well, is you have a puppy that's not really used to the environment. They bring it to the dog show. Then they hand it to a handler. So they're handing it to a stranger. Then they walk away from it. So the dog's already got a little separation anxiety going on.
I've been kidnapped.
Then you go inside the ring with it. And then they got a third party coming at them, to do the examination. And I mean, all it does is just add, puts pressure and stress on that dog.
Setting them up for failure. Creating the ring instead of. I know I've been to your house before, and you guys have a ring set up outside, which I think is a great way to train a dog to like the show ring, because if they've never seen it before, except for when something stressful, why would they like a show ring? They'd be like, this is the time when I get, in this horrible situation, versus at home. You guys, I know you have, you guys work as a team to kind of teach the dogs to go around the ring. Can we talk about that and how that works?
The other point I was going to make is I think sometimes those puppies would be better off if they would just go in the ring with the owner. While they're a little bit, instead of, handing them to the stranger, or at least have the handler, familiarize themselves with the dog enough so they can take him for a walk and feed him, and the dog's a little bit relaxed, and then
putting in that effort to.
And in shepherds, I mean, it's especially at the specialty shows, they do a lot of double handling because they want to see those dogs animated and going, So it's like, well, you don't need to be calling the dog when the judge is going over him and just putting more stress on him, because the
seeing
dog
Yeah,
has
they wanna get to their
absolutely
mom and
no
the
clue
handler's
as to
holding back.
why the owner's calling him, right?
Right.
It's just a lot of common sense that goes pretty long ways with some of that stuff.
If you actually thought about it that way, right? But when you guys are training the dog, you can use that kind of calling the dog as a way when they're comfortable and they're not stressed. It just teaches them to know how to go to those corners.
Yeah,
And then they kind of get that habit in place, right? To keep going like that. And the other one thing I wanted to talk about is with Rumor specifically, you've bred her since she won the Guardian, right? Tell us about the homes that you've put those puppies in.
Well, we finished, I think we've got 3 of them finished now, and 4 are finished. There's 4 finished, we've got a couple other ones started. And then one of the things that I wanted to try to do, one of the goals that we want to do with these puppies, or these dogs, is to be able to have litters that some can go into companion homes, and then I wanted to be able to donate some for service dogs.
I love that.
And then be able to pick a few out to go to the dog shows.
Yeah.
So it was like, I think a lot of the problem with this breed in particular, over the years, there's been like so much emphasis put on only like
one venue.
Well, and I hate to say side gate because of the fact that, I mean, there's nothing better than a really good, strong, agile, coordinated moving dog. And it's supposed to be. It's a movement breed, and it's that's how you judge the structure on these animals.
To move all day long.
Yeah.
But they got it's like if a certain amount of angulation is good, then more must be better. To the point where you get these over-angulated kind of,
stringy.
Well, they're just not functional animals, And then the only time you can get those animals to even look good is to gate them, at a high rate of speed, so you can get all those limbs moving back and forth. And I mean, I don't think there's many jobs that this dog would do where you'd be gating, wide open like that. That should be more moved at like a moderate gait, and then those legs are supposed to, function a little more normally that way, right? So, and I think in order to get the, like a rounded up, balanced kind of animal, you gotta, like focus on, temperament. I mean, we need to do things to try to get this, more people participating in this breed in the show ring. And I don't think we're going to really get there if people walk by the ring and they look at all these, over-angulated, unnatural kind of dogs. I mean, I think we need to concentrate on solid-minded, solid-structured animals with a little bit of curb appeal, I call it. You got to have some decent, some good looks.
They have to want to look at it on the couch at home too.
Sure. Well, and when you're walking down the street, it's like, Jesus, I'd like to have one of them. Not walk up and say, gee, what the hell's wrong with your dog's legs? I think you need to go to the orthopedic guy and see if he can build some braces for his rear legs.
That can't help much at 9/11 or anything like that.
Exactly.
But I think that's so awesome that you have a dog that was #1 all breeds, won the Garden, and then she's giving back.
Well, we did wind up. I've got 4 of those animals now placed with PTSD guys, like veterans that came back from the Middle East, because there's like a huge need for that. I mean, I know pretty good friends with the lady that runs a service dog organization, and I mean, those dogs are so helpful for those guys, And they just said some of those guys got a kick out of it, because the mother was, such a big time winner or whatever, So it was like, these different people wanting those dogs. It's like, look, we're not going to worry about that because the ones that I don't wind up doing stuff with the co-owners with, I'm going to donate them and see if that works out.
I love that. That is amazing. Really responsible breeding, that's caring about what your dogs are supposed to be doing. That's all we can do. Well, thank you so much for your time with the Canin Chronicle today, and safe travels back up.
Yes, into the tundra.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Mimi.
your work.